Men see sex as a physical act, often impulsive, responds to the attraction of a woman, usually through his eyes, as one of his sex organs. And unfortunately, his failure is pornography.
I think it's viewed in a lustful way. I'm not saying the majority, but I think overall, I think sex for a male is kind of the physical. I think that's one of the main things that comes from sex. And I think it's obviously a little bit different for the female's perspective. Females generally want kind of the emotional connection, feeling close to her partner. But again, I'm not saying that the man doesn't have that, but I think we are more in the physical realm of things.
Pretty much men are there in general for the physical aspect. Women view sex more of the completeness, the love aspect of the intimacy. Or as opposed to where in that aspect we think of it in the moment, they think of it of the overall picture of love.
Men see sex, actually, both genders have sexual instincts and desires, of course. But men are more inclined to see sex from a physical perspective. They find their pleasure more in physical intimacy. And that can be an issue for them if they are not aware that their wives, the wife would see sex as an expression of intensive emotional attraction or affection.
It's important that we as men view the gift of sex as a gift from God, sanctified, because we are sanctified. And if we do that, then we're seeing it in a healthy way. It's also possible to see sex as men as in an unhealthy way. It takes a bit of intentionality to be able to see sex in a healthy way. Some men see sex as an escape. That's not healthy. Other men see sex as an expression of love that is blessed by God with the power to create life. That is healthy. If sex is viewed by a man as a means of expressing holy, undefiled, honorable love, I'm speaking of Hebrews chapter 13, verse 4, then the man sees sex in a healthy way.
Women see sex, however, as an emotional relationship. Her desire is very selective, and she responds to a caring, loving man. His attention to her personality and his attention to the words he selects makes her more attractive to him. She is more lusting to soap operas and social TV shows.
I hope that all women see sex the way God intended for it to be seen, that it's an expression of love between a man and his wife within marriage, within the right relationship, and that it's not something taken outside of marriage and used in a wrong way. I know the media really influences us in this day and age of how to view sex, and that it's this thing where it could happen between any person in any kind of relationship, and that it's just to fulfill our desires, and it's a very selfish thing. But I hope that a Christian woman sees sex as something very pure within marriage, and that she sees the importance of virginity and waiting for marriage and the right person, and not to be influenced by what the media shows us. I know sometimes women can be shown to be very objectified as just another thing that a man desires, and it's very lustful and not pure. That's not the way women should see sex.
Women definitely view sex differently than men. Women are emotional. Women view sex through romance. They can be aroused by watching a film. Women love to be pampered. They want to be touched. They want to cuddle. They want to be held. Women view sex through being connected emotionally with their husband. They need to feel comfortable and safe and secure in the presence of their husband.
In many of the psychology books, men, when they deal with the stresses, they enter their caves. They take a time out, they don't want to be bothered, and they fight for their loneliness. During their presence in the cave, they may analyze the situation and they may come up with a solution. Before then, they need not to be interrupted. Some of men, when they enter their caves, they meet God, they repent, they pray, they kneel.
Men sometimes deal with stress, or under stress they like to cave, like to do what we say, leave me alone a little bit. I want to be with myself for some time. That's typical way of gentlemen under stress. They need just to leave them alone a little bit. And women need to understand that.
I'm not saying that the following is great, but it's true that the average man deals with stress usually in not the healthiest of ways. And the reason I say that is because usually when a man is stressed, he either doesn't realize that he's stressed and he doesn't know how to respond to that feeling. In other words, that a man is usually, on average, limited in his ability to understand and express his emotions.
Women, however, are completely the opposite. They are like waves. When they meet stresses, they want to go high tide and low tide, and you may not know which one you are going to face. And with each wave, she may respond differently to her husband's advances.
Woman under stress, she needs to talk, and she needs somebody to listen to her. And that's why gentlemen also need to understand that and give their women, husband would give his wife a chance to talk, and he needs just to listen, even without saying any word, but just be a good listener. This would help women take care of their stress.
We know that women are more emotional, and just like everybody, they go through things that stress them out or might give them a hard time. And we know that women like to talk. They like to express their feelings. They like to, kind of show what's on their heart. And it's good to do that, but it's very important to do it with the right person.
Believe it or not, even when women are stressed, they still nurture the people that are around them. Most women seek and give emotional support. Researchers have called this tend and befriend. They tend to the people they love. They befriend and connect with other people to form an emotional support group. Women, when they are stressed, are willing to speak about their emotions and about what's stressing them out. Women tend to protect themselves when they are stressed and protect their young ones if they have children. Women will form social groups and speak openly about their stress. So the way women respond to stress is they want to release it. But even when they are completely stressed out and they're weighed down and they are burdened, it is a natural inclination for a woman to nurture the people around her, even the people that are causing the stress in her life.
Of course, many of the things I mentioned can be overlapped. You may find a woman who is not talking much, rare, but they are there. And you can find a man who doesn't know how to stop. And you can find a woman who is very rational, practical, and you can find a man who's so emotional and doesn't know how to lead. So I can't say that what I mentioned and others have done so are so strict to one gender. There are so many overlaps. But that's the beauty of God's creation.
I think as a man, women teach me so much about how to be on the inside and how to express myself, how to connect with other people, how to not be so focused on achieving things, but to focus on being.
Of course, there's some sort of overlap, little bit, but when we say something specific about gentlemen or about ladies, gender-related traits, specific features related to the gender that would make a man typically ask to be left alone, or would make a woman love to talk to somebody who is listening to her.
There are definitely differences between men and women because of the way God designed and created our body and our mind. I don't believe that the differences are restricted to each gender, because sometimes a man can be emotional and a woman can be rational, and vice versa. I believe family, society, culture plays a very big role in the development of a person.
As a man, I have a lot to learn from women. Women also have a lot to learn from men. That a man can, on average, again, this is all on average, a man is able to be hyper-focused on certain things and to use that focus to achieve big things. And that's not saying that a woman can't do that. I think there's just so much that the average person naturally has or grows up with that we need to share with each other and use in each other to live the lives that we want to live.
These differences are neither good or bad. They just make us different, so we like to spend time with each other more. Can you imagine two men that they hardly speak, they spend time with each other? Life is so boring. Or two women who spend all the time with each other, they speak only feelings, nothing practical, nothing to be done, too much vocabulary. Difficult. I hope you can see the interesting features of each other and how God have created you to complement the other person. Women, for example, are amazing when they meet stresses in their family. They can deal with the stress far more, both physiologically and emotionally, than a man. A woman, though, will feel so down if the relationships are deteriorating. And a man will feel so down if his work is deteriorating. And that's why a woman needs to learn to always encourage man on his work, on his ideologies, ideas, responsibilities, And a man needs to encourage his wife on her beauty, her relationships, her home, her children. And that's maybe also why in a book called Love and Respect, it's very clear that man needs respect much more than love, and woman may not live too much without love. That doesn't mean love does not come number two for man and respect does not come number two for a woman. But at least generally speaking, if you don't respect a man, he cannot be feeling any love. And if you cannot love a woman, she will not feel respected.
Complementary means they complement one another. Only together do they make the whole perfect image. We celebrate that.
The differences between a man and a woman is not bad. It's just the way we're created and the way we respond based on how life has treated us and the way we react to circumstances. And it's really the way God designed us. But of course, if we step outside God's design and only respond and react to our emotions and our circumstances, that's what makes it bad. But I don't believe all men are rational, and I don't believe all women are emotional. I believe there's an overlap between the two, and I believe the differences are good as long as we don't act out of God's design and God's creation.
So I hope you have learned that there are worldly differences, sexual differences, personality differences between each other. I hope you also have learned the beauty of how God created a man and a woman, not two men and neither two women, for the differences that enrich each other and make their children grow to become like dad a little bit and become like mom a little bit and become more perfected with the work of the Holy Spirit. This is Fireplace. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Keep the fire in its place. Until we meet, God bless.